And lots of times people think of creativity only in association with the arts, but we're going to have a lot of discussions around addressing creative solutions to everyday situations that can be challenging when we are dealing with dementia ourselves or a care partner for someone with dementia.
Hey everybody, Ken Hendricks from Home Instead here. Thanks so much for joining me again today. Today I'm going to be chatting with my friend Nicolette Ketchum. Nicolette is the director of the Hummingbird Memory Cafe in Farmington, New Mexico. She is a passionate advocate for those living with dementia as well as their caregivers. She also happens to be one of the many wonderful experts and presenters that is coming together for the Dementia Possibilities Conference that will take place February 8th through the 12th online via Zoom. All the details for the conference can be found at dementiapossibilities.com. Nicolette and I are going to be working together for what I think is going to be a really fun, profound, and beautiful workshop for the conference. We're going to be bringing participants along with us to create a collaborative piece of music utilizing words and concepts from a poetry workshop that we'll conduct together. And so I brought Nicolette on today. Together, we're going to do a short demonstration where I'll pose as the audience, and we'll see what we end up coming up with together. So thanks for joining me today, Nicolette.
Happy New Year, Ken. It's
Yeah.
nice to be back talking with you again about the conference. I just want to clarify, I'm a volunteer facilitator for the Hummingbird Memory Cafe. So a lot has happened in the world since our conversation, which to me has strengthened my conviction that we need to practice more mindfulness, kindness, and creativity in our interactions with each other. We need to focus on more moments together, find common ground, and look for solutions to problems that include our community members who continue to be marginalized around decision-making in our communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that just kind of taking notice of what's going on in the world and really looking inward for is probably the best way for each of us to respond, and then we can actually kind of, find the most compassionate and the most centered approach for dealing with one another and being supportive of one another. So yeah, happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for being. I think this will be the second episode that I've recorded of the new year, and really excited to do this with you. I wanted to talk about I think that some of the things that you were drawing out there are really kind of coming from what dementia possibilities means to you, right? And I just love that name that we landed on. I don't know who it might have even been you that had pitched the name. I can't remember who it was. Okay, so I didn't know.
Kind of a group effort.
Yeah, it was very collaborative, and we landed on this really hope-inspiring name that I think in and of itself does a lot to destigmatize, the disease, living with dementia, and gives an air of hope, to people that it's, anytime we, have a difficult blow dealt to us in our lives, it's very, very important that we have people around us that are reminding us that doesn't mean that it's the end or that it's the end all. It doesn't have the final word. There's still so much to live for and so many ways that we can pivot. We've certainly learned a lot about pivoting in 2020.
Absolutely.
So what do you think of when you think of dementia possibilities and the group we're bringing together, and what gets you excited about the conference?
Well, I'm most excited about all the creativity that's going to be encouraged throughout the conference. And lots of times people think of creativity only in association with the arts, but we're going to have a lot of discussions around addressing creative solutions to everyday situations that can be challenging when we are dealing with dementia ourselves or a care partner for someone with dementia.
Yeah, absolutely. the creativity aspect is really, I mean, anytime Utah Lockpig is doing something, you know, there's so much creativity and artistic expression brought to the table. And I was actually just thinking about that this morning, you know, thinking about the chat that you and I were going to have, that, you know, how the arts in particular are so beneficial and helpful, um, you know, for the community of people that are living with dementia. Maybe there's certain capacities that are affected by it, but the arts, when you bring somebody that has difficulties, you know, in one way or another, whether it be mental, you know, difficulties or physical difficulties that they're living with, the arts are so open-ended. Like
Mhm.
there's no right or wrong, you know, and so it's a great place to go, um, and it can kind of open us up to the fact that maybe our ideas of right and wrong in other areas of life are not all that accurate.
Great comment. Yes.
But so we're gonna do a little demonstration together to, I guess it'll kind of be a preview of what we're gonna be doing for the conference. And so I'm going to let you kind of lead that and I'll pose as the audience. So you take it away.
So I want to start with by saying that I think a lot of times when we're talking about creativity and dementia, we're just thinking about maybe planning for the person to give them something to do that has dementia. But for the Memory Cafe and the concept of memory cafes, at least in the United States, it really was to engage the care partners with people living with dementia to learn something new about each other, to bond together. So I want to encourage that how we making using to keep someone busy, it really can be a way to practice self-care as well and engage with the person that we're caring for and just take a moment and take a breather out for the day. So just something to keep in mind. And we'll talk more about that as we're talking about the poetry. So, you know, when I'm working with others to create original poetry, I like to share a few caveats about the process.
Mhm.
So first of all, poetry provides opportunities for expressing ourselves on good days and challenging ones. And as I just mentioned, poetry can connect us to each other and allow us to begin a journey of healing. There's no right or wrong, just as you mentioned, in any of the arts, and that includes poetry. And constraints are removed when we express ourselves in a poem. So I'm going to give you an example of how random this process can be. So I was putting on a shirt, and then I was going to put this cover over it, and then I noticed that there was a sticker on the side of my shirt, and so this is what came to my mind. There's a tag on my shirt, but it didn't hurt, so I didn't know it was there. So that's how spontaneous, you know, poetry can be if you just kind of open yourself up to it.
I
So
love
we'll
how
be,
like poetry is like so on your mind that you're like writing poems about getting dressed. That's so cool.
and I didn't plan that. It just came to me
Yeah.
when I saw that sticker, because I thought it was funny because I have gone out in public before with these stickers from different stores on my clothes, and I did not want to make that mistake again today.
That's
So
funny.
I'm gonna start by opening up a blank document. And this is where we're going to start sharing our words and we're just going to brainstorm. The first part is just going to be brainstorming. And we're going to use the theme footprint.
Mhm.
And so let me open up the screen first. And so some people like to use the Zoom whiteboard as well because there is a text option. But I found that it was easier to edit as we're going along on a Word document. So that's what
Okay.
I'll be sharing. All right, and can you see that okay?
Yeah, yeah, I see.
Okay, so I'm just gonna make the font kind of big so that you can see it when we're typing. All right, and since I kind of already proposed the theme, I'm just gonna put that at the top of the screen
Okay. Yeah,
just to
you
kind
gave
of
me some
keep
options
us.
just before we got into this. You gave me some options, and what were they again? What were the three that we talked about?
Footprint, happy, and beginnings.
And I was kind of a little torn between beginnings and footprint, but footprint sounded really interesting to me because it seemed like there was some real depth that we could go into there pretty quickly.
Absolutely. We're just going to start with random thoughts right now.
Okay.
When you think about footprint, what words, what phrases, what colors, other word, it's like sensory words, what comes to your mind? And I'll try to keep up with your thoughts. I'll just type as you talk.
Gotcha. Well, I think of impression. Um, I picture, the impression of a footprint in sand. Um, and you know, when I kind of think of the concept, trying to draw out, analogies from a footprint, I think of the impression that we make as we walk along in our lives. You could think about uh, the impression that we leave upon others as we move throughout our lives, the impact that we make on the world. Um, you know, the and then there's something about a footprint that is it speaks of something past because there's the foot has made an impression and moved on, and so it's there's an element to that that is you're looking back on something, and I'm thinking of of a fondness, looking back with a fondness on where you've been in your life, um, and just kind of reminiscing. Yeah, reminiscing is a. So is that? I feel like that's a ton that we already got.
Exactly. So you just go until you can't think anymore. And
Yeah.
so do you feel like you're at a good stopping point?
Yeah.
Okay. So next, let's go through and look at these and see if you want to expand on them, if you want to add any more like descriptive words to them. So impression of a footprint in the sand. Is there anything you want to add to that? Any other descriptors? Any, words maybe that are opposites? Color words?
Yeah, I'm not thinking of anything extra.
Okay. Impression that we make as we walk along. You want to add anything to that?
Hmm. It's like you already wrote a poem from what I said.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So nothing else you want, and no other words that you want to add?
Um, Maybe
Impact that we
in
make on the
life,
world?
like so, in the impression that we make as we walk along in life. Um, the impression we leave upon others.
Oops. Do you want to add anything to impact that we make on the world?
Oh yeah, I think that's like I'm already kind of in love with those first four lines that you have there.
All right, and that's part of the process also is we don't have to use all of this. This was just kind of a brainstorm, and now we can filter through it if you don't want to add anything to anyone else and you're thinking, oh, let's just use the first four lines. Is that what you're thinking?
Or I mean, I did really like some of the things that you drew out of me there, like when it comes to um, like maybe we could continue like with my instinct here, because I write lyrics for songs often, and my instinct here is to like, okay, well, let's change this line now. I'm thinking that fifth line, I'd maybe go back to like the mention of the word impression, because that seems so predominant in the image of a footprint. The impression that speaks of something, that speaks of our past or something.
So you want to add something about the impression of a footprint, something about the impression of a footprint that speaks of something past?
Or we could even take out the word "that" there. Something about the impression of a footprint speaks of something
Okay.
past.
Foot has made an impression and moved on. Do you want to add anything to that?
I don't know. I would probably want to rephrase that, but I don't know exactly what, I might be getting ahead of us. I don't know, but I like it. Maybe, let's see. Let's maybe say the place from which we've moved on,
Foot has made an impression.
or even take out, like the, yeah, like maybe take out the foot has made an impression and just make that line, the place from which we've moved on. Or we could even blend that line and the next one and say, looking back on the place from which we've moved on.
Looking back on the place from which we have moved on.
I can't, doing this with you now, I already just can't wait to do this with more people and see, what their instincts are with moving things around, and because when one person says something, you gave me one word and then we end up with all these perspectives. I mean, you have one word with 10 people. That's going to be exciting.
Definitely.
So looking back on the place.
On where you have been in your life.
Yeah, with fondness.
So say that one more time.
Maybe add with at the beginning of that line, with fondness, looking back on where you've been in your life. And then just maybe say, reminiscing, I feel like it could just be one line. It's like it's one line. And then maybe finish out with a footprint in the sand, revisiting that first image.
You want to repeat that whole phrase, impression of a footprint in the sand?
That sounds nice too. Yeah, that sounds really nice too.
Okay, so what I really like about the beginning of this is the repetition of the word impression. So the next step we can do is we can rearrange the words, rearrange the phrases and words, or we can take and create stanzas if you want with particular groups of words, or we can leave it as it is, or whatever other idea you have. Those are just some suggestions.
Yeah. I mean, I think for what we're doing here and now, I really like it for what it is. I think I have, so much that comes to my mind, that I have this image, of a person coming upon a footprint and looking at a footprint in the sand, and they're flooded with insights to cherish their own life and to remember where they've been and to look back with fondness on the journey. It's really inspiring to me already. I think it's great.
Would you want to change any colors of the letters of the words?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, colors are great, but I don't know if I don't usually work with a lot of colors of text documents to change it up, which might be that maybe I'm a little boring. I don't know.
and that's fine. That's fine as well. So I'm seeing things that we could add to this visually also. The background could be, the picture could be sand. And I don't want to do all that because people get a little dizzy when you start doing a lot of stuff, in a Word document as a group. But perhaps before you, do the final release of this video, I can send you some more visual elements with this poem, and you could post that at the end of the video.
Yeah, if you want to do that, I would love to include that. I could just put it in right now as we're talking so that people can see it. Because I mean that happened fast, and it was really enjoyable. And so maybe we should go over now like how people can get involved and be part of the conference and take part in this workshop and others. And so we mentioned up top that folks can go to dementiapossibilities.com, and the conference is going to be February 8th through the 12th. And is there any other words that you'd like to offer folks with regard to inviting them to take part, Nicolette?
So I found that, I'll stop sharing here. I found that going to www.alzheimerscafe.com takes you to the Dementia Possibilities conference information. So www.alzheimerscafe.com.
And we're keeping this thing very, very simple for folks with regard to registration. It's really, charming in the sense of being very grassroots how we're doing this. All you need to do is, go to that main page at either Alzheimer's Cafe or dementiapossibilities.com, and there'll be a link for you to send an email. And really all you got to do is send that email and say, I want to join the conference, and then we'll take care of the rest. We'll send you emails with all the information that you need, with links for each day's workshops, and you can pick and choose which ones you feel like you really want to attend. You can take breaks. There's no pressure on you to do the whole marathon of the conference. Although if you want to, I think you'll get a lot out of it. But I think that this is going to be something real special, Nicolette.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great conference. And I think just to emphasize, the target audience is people with dementia, care partners, and also professionals in the field. So it's really bringing everyone together to support each other and learn more about how we can live better with dementia in our communities.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for joining me today. I really had fun with this, and that exercise was really enjoyable. I'm looking forward to our workshop that we're going to do together.
Yes, that'll be great. Thanks so much.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.